Oh, we're back.
Just now. We're late. I thought we hit the live stream, so here we go.
Hopefully, no one left in that 2 minutes.
Welcome to Liars Around the Campfire, where truth and tall tales converge, where laughter among friends creates memories and good times. Brought to you by a laughable collective of hosts, including Experiencing Arkansas, Narwhal Adventures, Salt and Sweet Tea Overland, Stories Behind the Stones. Together, we unravel extraordinary encounters and explore campfire-based experiences. So grab a seat by the fire as we collectively explore campfire encounters, tall tales, and campfire discussions.
Well, as they say in show business, take two. So we've been sitting here talking for like 2 minutes and didn't realize that we were not live. So I do apologize. It's the technology. Well, and the operator.
It's been good. Sorry you guys missed the first 2 minutes. That was the meat of the show. We're done.
Hey, more adventures. Or we got somebody else. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, there's Tim.
Hey, there's Tim. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to multitask and at the same time put people up when they comment. So I'll catch back up with that in a second. So if this is your first time joining us, I'll do it yet again, another introduction of who we are. I am Jason with Experiencing Arkansas. My wife, Kate's downstairs, so I'm going to plug her again. This is, wife plug. I have to get those brownie points.
It's a family show. Be careful.
That's right. It is a family show. So I am Jason with Experiencing Arkansas. And so then we've got Bobby with Stories Behind the Stones. We've got Will with Salt and Sweet Tea Overland. And then we have Bradley with Narwhal Adventures. And our very first, on our second podcast, our very first guest, Jeremy with Delta Overland. So welcome, Jeremy, and appreciate you joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. And I know we mentioned earlier in the preview to the Go Live that we were, no one's looking for sponsorships or anything, but in the comments, I'll make sure to leave my link for my OnlyFans and my Cash App. Feel free to support me in any way you want. I'm considering Food Finder as well, but we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. Support the gas fund.
That's right.
And the mods. So, we were just saying if you have no clue who we are, that's fine. None of us have a really big following. And so kind of a brief backstory. We're not looking for sponsorships. We're not trying to make this huge, let's grow the channel kind of thing. This is just us. So real quick backstory. I met Jeremy and I met Bobby both at Moore 2 years ago. They had no idea. Actually, Jeremy knew who we were, but Bobby's like, oh, they're from Arkansas. Had no clue who I was. So we met those guys at Moore 2 years ago, and then met Will and Nicole last year, I guess it was, at a bonfire event with Natural State Overland. And then we met. So we all decided to get together last year at Rendezvous in the Ozarks. And Jeremy was like, hey, I know this guy named Bradley. And you might come along, and we're like, no, that's fine. Bring him along. And then we ended up having our friend Nathan, and then Tim joined us, and then we had Kim join us. We had such a good time last year at Rendezvous in the Ozarks, and we're literally sitting around a campfire. We've got the above ground fire pit, and thankfully last year we could actually have a fire. So we're sitting around the fire, and it's like, we need to do this more often. That we had such a good time. We laughed so hard, probably mostly to do with, Bradley's commentaries being the class clown of the group.
Man, I'm stoked.
We made a joke about, hey, like the old TV show Hollywood Squares or something, and we're all kind of, used to Zoom calls and Teams calls and stuff. And he's like, you have all this. This is kind of our version of a Teams call, which is why we kind of have the campfire in the background. And we had this idea, and I think it was Bobby come up with the name. And it's like, let's do this. And so here we are getting a chance to get together, hanging out with each other. I'm going to try to do this on like a once a month basis, just to see how, what takes off with this. If it does, if it doesn't, we're having fun with it, even if it doesn't take off. And that's fine. So we are, tonight's podcast, what we are kind of focusing on is strange encounters, because
Yeah, Benji,
Yeah.
that's exactly true.
yeah, very much, very much. So more adventures. So anyway, we've all had some very strange encounters. So that's kind of the focus of tonight. I did have some, while you guys are talking, I'm going to pull it up. I did have a little thing I was going to pull up for some basic safety, camping safety, because this camp safety and stuff like this has been talked about on multiple podcasts. I mean, it is a thing. Kate and I have had, we had 3. I know she's been with me for 2 encounters. I'm pretty sure at least three fairly serious encounters, and where it was dangerous. And then of course there's another one that's funny, and I'll wait till Bobby starts talking about his. Brad don't even talk much. Yeah, neither do I. So anyway, that's kind of the focus tonight, is some basic camping safety and strange encounters, whether it be a dangerous encounter, whether it be human, whether it's a bear, whether it's Bigfoot, if you believe in Bigfoot, whether it's
He's a weird.
the chupacabra, whatever it is. So anyway, I'm going to hush, kick it off, and I think we're going to start off with our guest Jeremy from Delta Overland. And I know you and Bradley both had an encounter last year. If you want to kick it off for us.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about the crazy night we had, and I'll let Brad add his Brad level of color to the story as we go along. It was it was an interesting time. We've all been out multiple times where nothing is everything's great. It's an easy time. This is how that started off. This was Brad's trip. He had a few guys here from Northeast Arkansas that I'd never been out with, and they had been out the night before. I was somewhere else. I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but Stella and I came in, and Stella, if you guys that since we had a false start, 10-yard penalty to begin this thing. Stella was here a minute ago, and then she might have sauntered through at some point, and you may see her again later. But so Stella and I came out on Saturday morning, and we met up with Brad and all his crew out there. We spent the day out on the trails and decided we were going to have a kind of an early evening on Moccasin Creek.
Yeah,
there's a nice campground there.
I love that place. Not anymore. Haven't been back since.
Yeah, it's kind of got a bad taste in our mouth right now.
I find it ironic that Bradley would go to a place named Moccasin Creek.
Fair enough.
I had to throw that out there.
Only in the winter. Oh, in the winter.
Yeah, this was wintertime. It was early spring, early fall. Actually, now I don't even remember which, but it was cool. It was not. It was not a warm day. But the side by sides were out, and generally that just means lots of beer, lots of cigarettes, a little loud music, Kid Rock rocking in the background, and that all did happen. Of course, I mean that was obviously well going on. But as we kind of like the night went on, or the day went on, we had our tents out, we were cooking dinner, having dinner. You see some side by sides and some such, and all of a sudden, this 4-wheeler comes out of the creek like a sea monster rising from the depths. He just comes out of the creek, boom, and he jumps out, cuts it off. We're like, what the crap? It's one thing for the guy to ride by, but he stops and he gets over, and the guy's about 7.5 feet tall.
He's a big dude.
He's not as big as the snake. He's not as big as the snake, but he's not Sasquatch, but he's Sasquatch-esque. I mean, they're close cousins. We'll leave it at that. And he's from Mississippi.
And Bradley, he could have been, 5'9", 5'10".
He could have been 5'9". He would have been.
He could have been. But listen, he was bigger than the rest of us as well. Yeah, that's normal to us folks. And I said I wasn't going to give away any personal information, but he was from Mississippi, and we'll leave it at that. It's a big state. We'll go from there. But it was just kind of a weird encounter at first. Where we're out. Yeah. Well, why do we do this? We'd like to meet people.
Yeah, you felt it was a weird vibe straight off the bat. I think that's the key point.
Straight off the bat.
Yeah, just give you a context of how much this guy just rolled up in our camp. Okay, there are 10 people. We have 5 rigs and two people per rig there, and we're all sitting around a campfire, and it's dark. And this guy shoots up out, and Jeremy's 100% correct. This guy shoots up out of the ditch by Moccasin Creek. Woo! Just comes up in there, locks the four-wheeler up. Yeah, locks it up, jumps out. And he's like, "Hey, care if I have a beer with y'all?" And we're like, "Okay, sure, not a problem. You can have a beer with us, whatever." But this guy bells up in a camp, and this is everybody, and our Gina's with me. Everybody's there, has their wife, their girlfriend, whatever. Everybody's with us there. Jeremy's got Stella, and this guy just bowls up in the middle of our camp, like, "Hey, I'm just going to hang out." We're like, "All right, sure, man, sit down and have a drink with us." And then it went south.
yeah, and that's where the weirdness really kicked in. Like that part was a little. It was a weird vibe, but like I said, we all do this. We like to meet people. No, not at that point. We didn't feel. Nobody felt there's any threat going on. It was just a little odd. But we're out there to meet people and have a good time. So we're trying to talk. But as he talked, the weirder it got. It was. It was.
And I'm weird, and he's way weirder than me.
I know, right? And that's saying something. Yeah. But we start off with like, "Hey, I've been camping in this spot for 30 years, but you guys don't worry about it. You're fine." I'm like, well, we know it's public land. We know we're fine. But then I was like, "Well, tell me what you do for a living." And by the way, this is my spot. I just want y'all to know that I don't camp anymore, but this is my spot. You're in my spot. Don't worry about it. We talk about something else. Came back to, well, this is my spot. Well, when it really started getting like concerning is when he would say things like, "Now you guys don't have to worry. We're not going to come back in the middle of the night and kill you or anything."
Yeah.
And it's like,
outstanding.
Yeah. It's like, I appreciate the words that you're not going to kill me, but the fact that you said you're not going to kill me means maybe you're going to kill me. Like
not if I kill you first.
That thought crossed everyone's mind. I think no one was. I promise no one was carrying any illegal weapons with us that night whatsoever. But whatever legal means of protection that people may or may not have had on them probably were in their hands at some point before the conversation was over.
Including the baseball bat,
bats, hatchets, rocks, whatever.
Yeah, when we all sit around the campfire, we talk, we mouth. There's in this community, there's a lot of camaraderie, I guess, and a lot of like I guess construction worker type site stuff. Like we give each other crap constantly. We always do. We give everybody, you see somebody, you're going to give them a little bit of crap. This guy didn't know us. This guy had no idea who we were. We had no idea who he was. And he repeatedly told us for 35, 40 minutes, he's like, "Yeah, this is my spot. I've camped here my whole life. And he said, I'm not going to come back and kill you tonight. Ha, 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 ha.
Or maybe I will." It was very disconcerting.
Yeah,
especially having my daughter there who was 9 at the time. My thought was, well, do I just kill this guy now? YouTube, I didn't mean that, not really kill, but slightly pummel. Do I slightly pummel this guy now?
Out. Yeah, your dad's senses are like high alert.
Yeah, your body senses are tingling.
Got to take care of Stella.
It's not a good thing. So, and it doesn't get any better. He just keeps going on, and he wants to go around the circle. What do you do for a living? Well, Brad worked for the FBI or ATF. I didn't even know this.
Yeah. I was like, let's see what this guy, what he's scared of. I was like, yeah. What do you do? I said, well, I'm an ATF agent. He had no crap whatsoever.
No, he had no cares whatsoever.
I'm like, we're going to shoot this guy right here tonight.
He was wanting to give multiple people's wives hugs, and snuggle up to them.
Yes. So. So when this guy finally ends up leaving, I think y'all ended up asking him to leave, right?
We did.
It was to the point where, he realized at the point after about 30 minutes of him constantly telling us he's going to come back and kill us and everything else. But the craziest part of this whole situation before this guy leaves. Okay, so if you guys are familiar with the Moccasin Creek area, I mean, if you go down there, if you've been down there on that road, this campsite that we're talking about is right next to a low water bridge crossing. There is zero cell service down there. Yeah. And even with a Wii Boost and everything, you don't have any service. So we're sitting there, and then this guy's phone rings. And nobody here at the time. No, there's 10 people, 10 telephones. Nobody has service. This guy's phone rings, and he's like, hey, yeah, y'all just go ahead and come on down here where we're at. Now, this is after telling us that, he's going to kill us later, and all that other stuff, after a whole bunch of stuff that we haven't even shared. And then Charlie Hughes is there with us. Well, Charlie has his boomstick in his truck, or in his Jeep. And Tim, there's another guy there with us, Tim, that's sitting there, and he's retired military, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden you can hear Charlie chamber a round in his rifle. And Tim looked at me and he's like, did you hear that? And I'm like, yeah, I heard it. Keep talking. And so the guy's like, yeah, y'all just come on down here. And that's the point where we kind of all got up to it. Was like, look, you just need to go. You're not bringing anybody else down here. You're not bringing the rest of the side-by-side mafia down here to come down here and hang out. That's it. We're done.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. This is over.
We're done. And then we got a guy sitting across the low water bridge from us. It was just totally creepy at the moment. We got a guy sitting across the bridge from us with his headlights shining on us and stuff. And then we're like, okay, what do we do? Do we stay here? Do we risk the fact that we don't know if this guy is actually mentally disturbed in some way, shape, or form? Stella's upset.
Yeah, she's freaked out.
Yeah, Stella's upset.
She's very freaked out.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. I said, I don't want to sit up all night waiting for this guy to come back to camp, either rob somebody, hurt somebody, do something. Yeah. And so we're like, we make the decision to pack up and leave camp. So we all make the decision to pack up and leave camp. So we load up, we leave camp, we get to the top. Now this is what, Jeremy, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night? By
10:30 at night. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're 3 hours from home.
Yeah. So we leave and we leave. And as we're leaving, there's like a ton of side-by-sides and everything parked at the top of the lookout. It's like a half a mile from us. So we're like, okay, good idea. Let's go. And so that's when the whole part of now it's time to do something about this, because we have to contact somebody and tell them what has happened, because this is legitimately a situation that could have went two different ways. We could have clubbed this guy and tied him up. It's like, if you know me, I posted this on Natural State Overland when it happened. And I had a lot of people that talked to us about it, and everybody offered their opinion, and I was very grateful for everybody's opinion of what they put on there. I had a lot of people saying, man, I would have shot the guy at the fire pit, or I would have hit him with a log, or I would have tied him up until the cops got there. I can tell you right now, Jason's wife is law enforcement, and I used to work for the sheriff's department a long time ago. And I can tell you right now, there's no scenario where 10 people around a campfire beat up one person and nobody goes home okay. There's zero scenario. This is not happening.
Yeah. And real quick, depending on what state you are, Arkansas, the legalities of that, without getting into legalities, depending on which state you are, you have stand your ground, and then you have a duty to retreat. Arkansas, I believe, is a stand your ground state. Other states are not. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, but
even know what state you're in, even if you're in a visiting state.
Yeah, even if in a stand your ground situation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
10 right. 10 to 1.
Yeah,
we could have easily retreated. So it was hard to. It'd have been hard to justify anything. Yeah,
we did the right thing.
We had Gina was there, and Gina was like, she had Stella sitting with her, and she was like, I'm fixing to reach down here with this shovel and just scoop below these ashes into this guy's face. I'm like, I'm just going to club this guy with this shovel. Like, whatever, do what you feel like you need to do. But
well, the biggest takeaway from this story to me is I think you guys did the right thing. Y'all could have stayed. It could have gotten worse. It could have escalated. It could have turned into a serious situation. Y'all could have had slashed tires. Somebody could have been robbed, or they could have just harassed you all night. The guy I think had been drinking, so he's already inebriated quite a bit.
Way past drinking. He was way past.
Okay, yeah.
He probably thought there was 30 of us at least. You know what I mean? I mean, he couldn't tell.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to touch base on real quick before we move on to sharing some more stories was that because all of us were messaging each other, and we have our group message going back and forth, and you guys were kind of updating us. And I believe you guys either one of the people at camp knew someone or was a neighbor with a state trooper or something, and basically said, hey, this is what happened. State trooper gets on the phone, calls his local sheriff's department. This local sheriff's department gets on the phone, calls the local ranger station. Lo and behold, this is not the first time this guy has done this.
No, and I'm gonna just for the sake of the person that I spoke to the next morning, I'm gonna leave that part of the story out because I'm not going to
Yeah.
be
I got
detrimental to somebody else that had no, but this guy was with this other guy, and this other guy tried to call and take care of it, and we said, no, we're not doing that, But come to find out, this person had done this several times, and when the Rangers and everybody in local law enforcement had got involved in it, they knew exactly who he was. They went and picked him up. The guy was arrested. He was from out of state. He was arrested. He did get criminally trespassed from the National Forest. So he got charged with several crimes. One of them was, what was it? Terroristic threatening to a minor.
To a minor, yeah. That was the bad one because Stella was there, yeah.
Yeah, he got some kind of threatening to a minor. Anyway, this guy's not coming back to where he's been going for 30 years because he elected to harass.
Not legally anyway.
Yeah, not legally. Because it's going to be a bad day for him. But he did spend several days in jail over that. So, I mean, he admitted to what he did, after he'd done it. But apparently, like I said, he'd been doing this this is not his first offense. He had done this. There had been several reports about this guy.
So
and they knew.
I think that, to me, I don't want to blow up necessarily the Ranger stations with a bunch of phone calls because I guarantee you stuff like this happens probably a lot more frequently than you care to admit.
Yeah.
Because whether it's national parks tend to have more regulation, more authority, and more presence from rangers. Yeah. National Forest, not so much. National Forest can somewhat be like the Wild West because there's not much law enforcement around. There's too much area. There's too much acreage to cover. And I have also learned there's different types of rangers. There's forest rangers who are in national parks, and then there's forest rangers that are supposed to be covering national forest, and you rarely ever see one. You'll see game and fish before you see, more likely, a ranger. You definitely won't see a sheriff's deputy, on Forest Service Road somewhere. Yeah. But they honestly, between the game and fish and the sheriff's department, that's who you will end up seeing probably faster than anybody.
Yeah, they handled this spectacularly. Yeah. They did it in just a few hours. I mean, the next morning, which I'm not going to deny, I gaslit the whole situation, because I put it on Natural State Overland, and I got
got the attention
of hundreds. Yeah. So I finally had to lock the post, and I told everybody, I said, look, it's been resolved. Because people were like, man, I'm going to go find this guy, and I'm going to tell him to get out of my forest. I'm like, dude, it's his forest too.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So there was lots of armchair quarterbacking in that.
There was a lot of that, yeah.
So just to kind of, disclaimer, we're not any legal entities of giving legal advice or anything of that kind of sort, but it is legal to carry a firearm in the national forest or in a national park. When Kate gave a ladies only firearms class at Moore, not this past year before last, and I found some of her pamphlets. So thanks, Kate, for telling me where these were upstairs. It was back in 2010 that there was old man's got to put his glasses on. 2010, the Credit Card Accountability, Responsibility, and Disclosure Act of 2009 was approved by Congress and Obama in February 2nd, 2010, and that new law allows guns in national parks. That was created, blah, blah, blah. Basically, you can carry a weapon to protect yourself in a national forest. It is legal. You can actually carry in a national park if you have an enhanced concealed carry permit for that state. Again, depending on what state you're in, look up your local laws and stuff like that. But so that being said, and if my parents happen to be out there listening, close your ears. So I've personally had 3 really, I'd say, fairly dangerous, two especially dangerous encounters. The third one was very mild. Some friends, 2 friends of mine, 3 years ago, we were out camping. And this is actually on, if you're familiar with Ozark Overland Adventures Day 3 trail. We were camping right beside a creek. David had a migraine. He crashed at 7 p.m. It was still daylight outside. He went to sleep. He had his rooftop tent. He passed out. He's done. And then Greg passed out, I think, around just after dark. It was like barely dark. Might have been like 8:39. He's passed out. I'm still up. I went to bed in my Jeep. I was sleeping in the back of the Jeep at the time. And I remember somewhere around 10:30, I heard a four-wheeler and a side-by-side come down the hill, cross the creek, and then shut their motors off. And I was like, they don't even know we're over here. I don't even think they can see us because we're ways off the road, camped beside the creek. And I thought that was very odd that I hear, motors coming up and all of a sudden shutting down. And probably about 15 minutes prior to that, I heard rapid fire of an AR rifle, probably about a mile and a half away. And I could tell, I knew what it was. It was an AR style rifle. And I'm like, who's cracking off rounds in the Midlands? Well, we are out in the forest. It could be a local scaring the coyotes away from his cows or something. I was trying, because we actually were near a farm. There was a cows not a couple of 100 yards from us. So I just kind of didn't think much about it. I also knew that people were, out and about the national forest, probably drinking middle of the night. But then 15 minutes later, 2 ATVs come up and then kill the motor. That freaked me out a little bit and kind of had my guard up. So I'm now kind of easing myself out of the Jeep with a flashlight and a handgun, waiting to greet anybody that happens to come sneaking into camp if need be, going, can I help you? So because it kind of had me a bit worried. And by the time I finally quietly crawled out of the air mattress in the back of the Jeep, they fired up their motors and they left. I didn't think much about it. I asked Greg or David. They never heard anything the next morning. Same spot, like a year later, literally the same spot, middle of the day. This is like 12:30, 1 o'clock. So it's like literally in the middle of the day. I parked my Jeep in the exact same spot. I'm probably 80 yards to 100 yards away from the main trail. And if you're familiar with that day 3 trail, it's where you used to have to close the gate. You'd have to open the gate, close the gate. It's that creek, if you're familiar with that. I stay out of that spot now because what I'm about to tell you. And I want to go into details, but we were out looking for arrowheads, walking the creek, and because there's a lot of shell and slate rock there, so it's kind of hard to tell, is this a arrowhead or just a piece of shell that's broken, not shell, but slate that's broken off. And so we were walking back to the Jeep, and I started walking back a little bit more hurriedly because I see an older 2-door Jeep, and it's, like making a beeline for my Jeep, like quick, like it's trying to close the gap, trying to get there quick. And I thought, well, they're sure in a hurry. And it's two younger guys in their middle 20s. And they see me walking towards the Jeep, and I've probably got about 40 yards to the Jeep. And they've already jumped out, and they're already chit-chatting and kind of making really strange comments. Like, I'm already feeling a little guarded. I've already got my pocket knife out my pocket. It's open, and I'm like keeping it behind me, tight to my pants, because I figured they're headed towards me, but the whole entire time they're, doing their 180 sweep. And they're like, has that Jeep got lockers? And I'm like, yeah, sure is nice. And then it's just like silence.
You wearing Jordans?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, good. The money on you, it's like, it was a bit weird. Well, now Kate's coming up behind me, and they I think thought I was alone, and I'm trying to like make small talk. I'm just keeping it casual. I said, yeah, we've been out, we've been wheeling, we camped last night. We're on our way back home, and just decided to stop and look for some arrowheads. And they're just kind of the whole time. And there's one guy's in front and one guy's kind of in the back, and they had hoodies on. So I'm already, having the training I've had, I'm already looking for like printing. I'm looking for firearms. I'm thinking, because I didn't have a handgun on me. All I had was a little pocket knife. And I was like, am I fixing to get shot? I mean, I'm running the scenarios in my head, and I'm steadily trying to get to my Jeep. And like the Jeep is this way and they're this way. And as I'm walking this way, they're like closing the gap, moving in, trying to cut me off. And now Kate's behind me. And I didn't realize this at the time, but Kate said she could see me from behind. She was walking because there was a tree had fallen. And when she walked around that tree, she saw me and saw those guys. And she's like, well, that's odd. And she said, I could see from a long ways away, you were bowed up and looked like you were ready to jump on them like Wolverine. So I was like, I just thought I was standing normal. She goes, no, you were in attack mode. I was like, oh, okay, I'll take your word for it. But so she's already picked up on it pretty quick with her law enforcement background. She could tell something was really weird. Long story short, we make it to the Jeep. I open the door for my wife, like a gentleman. Actually, we were dating at the time. I opened the door for her, and she had her pistol was on the floorboard of the Jeep. I handed it to her so they could see it. So here you go. Then they're like, well, y'all trip. And then they decided to do their Jeep because they knew that, you missed your opportunity. That's not even the worst one. The worst one, I'll wrap this up because we're moving along here. But the worst one, Kate works with a police department. I won't say who, but she works with a police department, and she had invited some of her friends to go, because they had seen that Kate and I had been out camping and riding in the Jeep. So she wanted to do like a police event. Let's take them all camping and see. Quiet climb out of an art. Yeah. Yes, that's true. Very, very true. So we decided she was going to see who all would want to come, and we were going to have like a police event basically to try to help get them out because a lot of times people police especially need to kind of unwind and get the day-to-day stuff out of their head and just kind of, we were going to have a good time. So we had a SWAT officer, and I think a lieutenant in the police force, and her husband, and then her daughter, teenage daughter, and we had Kate's son. He was 17 at the time, I think. And then so we're all camping. So we've all gone to sleep, and then I'm like, rapid eye movement, sleep mode. I'm out. I am passed out in the rooftop tent, and Kate wakes me up, and I'm just like, what? Drew, what? What's going on? And then I'm realized that there's headlights and stuff coming into camp. And it's all, ATVs. There was a four-wheeler and a side-by-side, and they're loud. They got loud music going. And I wake up to one of the officers is now yelling. She started off saying, hey, we're trying to sleep. Can you keep it down? And he starts yelling back something about you don't own this bleeping, creek and all this other stuff. It's like, I'm, National Forest. I can be here too. And it was like, there's 5 rigs, 4 or 5 rigs there. We're all obviously camping. There's tents up. I've got my rooftop tent up, and this guy just refuses to leave. Police are trained, escalate to the next level and then to the next level, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. And finally I come, it got so bad that he's now like, the way my Jeep was parked this way and her Jeep was this way, she's standing behind her Jeep, and there's a gap between the two, and he's about to ride his side by side up in between this gap, and he's literally fixing to breach camp and start talking trash and stuff. And I recognized something needed to be done, so I come bebopping down the rooftop ladder and no shoes. And if you've ever gone down a rooftop ladder with no shoes, you know how painful that is.
Yeah, no fun.
So I have, I'm equipped, armed. I'm ready to go to work if I need to. I'm blind. I can't see anything. There's headlights. I couldn't. He had most definitely a tactical advantage over me. But one guy on the four-wheeler saw me and what I was carrying and about stripped his gears when he put it in reverse and left. And I'm not even kidding. I heard gears grinding. He was gone. He abandoned his buddy real fast. Well, Mr. Drunk Man refused to back off. His girlfriend or wife or somebody's like beating him on the shoulder, telling him, let's just go. Let's just go. This is, it's just getting crazy. And I'll just leave it at that. So keep in mind, I was at a dead sleep to now all of a sudden I feel like people around me are being threatened. And so I'm not quite awake yet, but I am now. And now my adrenaline is just dumping. I've gone from worried to I am mad. I can't go to sleep. I'm immediately like tactically going, statistical chances of him trying to sneak back in the creek. Because when he left, he's talking about he was going to come back. He wanted to. Oh, this is the funniest part. I'm going to call the cops, and everybody's looking around going, we are the cops. So because they hit it, he also didn't know that the SWAT officer had already flanked him and was about ready to take him out if need be. So it got bad. We also had I think that was the third situation. So that's kind of my stories, but I've got a fourth one with this funny Sasquatch story I'll share later. But so now I will say I was going to call the I think it's Clarksville office, I think, for the Ozark National Forest, which is the ranger who is in charge of the Ozark National Forest. I was going to call and report it, and I never did. And I regret not doing it. But my fear is if all of a sudden people just start calling and reporting, if it becomes like every week, there's like an event almost every week or something, and I'm exaggerating, maybe it's once a month, they're just going to start closing stuff.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen, because they will not go out there and just do, just send resources out, for like a solid month and do like sting operations for driving while intoxicated and doing all kinds of illegal activities and stuff and just cleaning it up. Because if they did, it would slow it down big time. But what they'll do, just like most government does, is just, well, fine, we'll just take it away from everybody, so that's my only fear. So, Will, I know you guys have been doing this about as long as I have. Do you have any strange encounters? Are you awake, Will?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening, taking it all in. I mean, a lot of lessons to be learned from encounters like that, and then thinking about planning ahead when you're going out is definitely a good thing. And when you're with a group, hey, maybe we have a quick conversation about what we're going to do in the event of X, Y, and Z, and
yeah,
maybe be thinking about that and intersecting lane and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And now that you mentioned that, I rode with well, I don't want to throw his name out there, but I rode with a guy who likes to take people on trail rides. I don't want to necessarily bring him into all that without asking permission first. But anyway, we went on a trail ride with him once, and he kind of took responsibility. He said, hey, if you've never rode with me before, this is what we usually do, is kind of a brief safety check. He says, I do have a firearm. I keep it in my Jeep. It's right here in the console beside me. If we're ever out and you need access to a handgun quick and you need it, there it is. If anybody else has one, then they're willing to share their. I thought that was neat. So it's just like you said, discuss as a group accordingly and just go, hey, I've got a med kit. I've got a stop the bleed kit, that kind of thing. Do kind of a pulse check. Hopefully you can say I have a fully charged battery on a radio, stuff like that, just a quick check.
Backups to your backups. Ham radios is a great tool. There's usually always somebody monitoring a repeater somewhere, and being aware of that kind of stuff when you're going into an area can be helpful. Obviously having training.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Chris.
My older girlfriend.
We had to call the cops at our campsite years ago, but that was to have a buddy's drunk bipolar girlfriend all the way.
That happens a lot, Craig.
We don't camp Craig anymore. God, Craig.
Sometimes it happens that way, don't it? I have. We were out on the beach down on Padre one time, and a guy came down, and I could tell it was a guy. I could see his silhouette, and you could tell it was a man. But he drove by real slow, and it was about dusk or just starting to get dark. I was like, man, we see cars coming by, and they're minding their own business, doing their thing, but. This guy, for whatever reason, he decided it'd be a great idea to go down about 1/8 of a mile and then turn around and come back. And then he circled around a couple of times. And so that kind of had me on edge. And that was one of those situations where it's like, okay, do we stay or do we go? We decided to stay. We just, was vigilant for a while and didn't have any more issue. But that was probably really the only situation we've had. But we always try to be ready. Like you said, having Nicole always knows where the pew-pew's at, and she's got the medical training, so she knows where the nurse say the quick clot and the first aid kit, all that, where that's at. And so that's our thing. And then having the radio, and we just bought a Zoleo communication device, which is I think
handy,
is a must. And why I haven't bought it sooner is beyond me, but we have it now, so that's
awesome.
Gonna be,
Bradley converted me from Garmin to Zoleo, so
I love Zoleo. I love it. Man.
I love it.
used it enough to even see the advantage yet because I haven't really had a whole lot of messages with it. So it's like,
No, also, don't worry.
yeah. So
Well,
real quick, I want to move on to Bobby real fast, but I pulled this up on. Oh, that didn't work at all. So I was trying to show something, but it's like there's 10 safety rules, but you can't even see them. So
don't eat the fire.
Yeah. Why that?
Avoid the snakes.
Technology. Oh, I see why. Okay. Well, while I'm uploading this, where's that at? Got to find the file now. Oh, I can't find it. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I was gonna have the 10 safety tips, but my thing is when I go camping, I almost never camp right beside the trail. If I'm camping off of a Forest Service road or a trail, I don't want to be within like eyesight's distance because that's just inviting people to come. Especially if you're by yourself. If you're by yourself, I'd rather go off on a little side shoot where. I'm even, I don't want to say paranoid, but I'm cautious enough. Can anybody see a campfire from where I'm paranoid? And hypervigilantly cautious. So I try to
keep under street lights if at all possible.
I even like if strategically, if I can, like I'll even position the Jeep's headlights aiming towards the trail that I came in. So if I'm in my tent in the middle of the night, I can at least hit the lock or unlock button on the Jeep, and now they've got headlights shining at them. Actually, I had to do that. No, it's not because it was dangerous, but I actually had to do that. That was it the same? No, it was a different trip. Many years ago, 4 years ago, we were camped right off, a little ways off of a Forest Service road, and we didn't realize at the time, but there was and I do mean a caravan. There was a caravan of people with campers. And I'm talking like fifth wheel campers. They had fifth wheel campers. They had tents. They had canopy set up. It was like a little community, and they were all out drinking all night long and riding side by side, loud music and stuff. Well, I think one of the attendees at Lollapalooza there is probably like 2 or 3 in the morning, decided to leave. Well, they're driving down the road and then they just stop and they're just sitting in the middle of the road. Well, we're all sleeping in hammocks, but we're probably 120 yards off the road. But I don't think there was any way they knew we were over there, but unless they had, seen us earlier and driven by. I didn't feel threatened at the time. It was just annoying because the car's running and it's just sitting there. So it's kind of creeping me out a little bit. And I'm like, well, it's time to move along. And so I can see them, and the doors have opened, and people are like walking around. I don't know what they're doing. If they're like trying to reposition their weed in their car, I have no idea what they're doing. But I reached into my pocket and hit the unlock button, and it was like the movie Christine. All of a sudden, the headlights on the Jeep are aimed at them, and they all of a sudden shuffle, slammed the doors, and took off. That's like problem solved. So that's something to consider. Trying to back in and aim your headlights towards where you came in, because that's going to give you a tactical advantage, because now somebody's blind. Gives you time to move, react, things like that. And I know there's been, Lady Overlander radio had a podcast about this a little over a year ago, talking about, females camping by themselves. And there's one lady, she carries I think she carries a shotgun now. Everywhere she goes camping around in Colorado and Wyoming by herself. And I think there was a bear encounter. She was literally like driving away with the tent up and had a bear and camped. Go. So yeah, it's just, there's things to be aware of, and common sense, which doesn't seem to be as common as it used to be, but, use some common sense and try to, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of, okay, am I backed in? Do I only have, is the way I came in the only way out, or is there another way out? Because if there's another way out, there's also another way in. So just be thinking stuff like that. So some basic safety stuff. And then I'm going to see if I can find that. It's on my computer. I had my little camping safety list here. Let's see, where was that?
So there's lots of these stories out there too. Folks,
oh, yes.
we got some fun stories too. But I know Caleb Baker, Baker Overland, he's got a really interesting video out about camping.
Yep.
Just he and his kids and getting harassed by some
Well,
side-by-side
I'd heard a
stuff.
different version of it when it first happened. I was kind of confused when I watched the video. Oh, here we go. Number one, you're responsible for you and your own group and the safety of those in your group. So it doesn't matter if you're the camp leader or not. You're still responsible for people you're with. Plan your route and let family know where your campsite location is. Give them a general area. Include proper first aid kit and check the expiration dates. Make sure nothing's expired. Do not engage with wildlife. They are wild. Leave them wild. Gosh, I can see the reels with people posing with bison and elk. Bring an emergency supplies like an emergency blanket. Raccoons. An emergency blanket is
the candy. Bobby found it.
Yeah. So an emergency blanket, if you've ever taken a Stop the Bleed class, an emergency blanket is a highly underrated item. If you're bleeding so bad that you've got to have a tourniquet, you can go into shock. So having an emergency blanket is vital. Good GPS communicator or satellite phone, some way to get the signal out. Zoleo, Garmin, InReach, whatever it may be. Number 6 was use only approved fire rings or fire pits, and make sure you fully extinguish it and pour it out with water. If the fire has gone down, that doesn't mean it's out. If you go digging around in the coals, you'll find it's still hot. Pour water on it. So fully extinguish your campfires with water and check before leaving. You can even by touch if you've fully extinguished. Take a snake bite kit. We know Bradley's got one.
I'm not getting bit by a snake because I'm staying away from them.
Right. And take out what you bring in. Don't leave items in the for trash that animals can get and things like that. Take your beanie weenie cans and cans of sardines. Don't put them in the fire pit. Take it out. I don't know why every stinking fire pit. I'm going to have tally marks of fire pits that I find that doesn't have that in them. Wear appropriate and safe clothing and footwear. And then that's my safety tips. Now it's 7:50. We barely got enough time for Bobby. So go ahead, Bobby. That was informal.
Be quick, Bobby.
Yeah. So the rest of this will be about some strange encounters. And I know you all have had some strange encounters. I have not had too many strange encounters with wildlife or Bigfoot or anything like that. So anyway,
good point.
And at Rito last year, a UFO went over, and none of y'all said a thing until later on. It was already gone.
Never even thought about it.
And the rest of us on the other side of the campfire were like, what are y'all talking about?
I thought I was seeing things. I didn't want to say too much. I was like, maybe too much soda that day.
Register.
Too much soda.
It was weird.
The UFO.
So what was the UFO? Tell me about the UFO, because I've kind of forgot the whole story.
It was I want to say it was one of
Starlink,
Starlink. Yeah, it was Starlink going into orbit. I think they had launched a new Starlink thing.
Yeah, because we were over there.
There's a meteorologist that even said something about it. He didn't know what it was.
Pretty much everybody at Rito saw it because it was just like this weird little glowing orb that just kind of like streaked across the sky.
That was the weird thing about it. It looked like it was going to land. That was the weird thing. Like from our vantage point, it looked very, very odd. It looked like it was going to touch down in camp. Yeah. But it was Starlink.
It was Starlink. And now look, we all have Starlink.
Yeah, not before, but now.
Yeah.
Bobby, I understand you have a funny Sasquatch story. I will share mine real fast because it's really quick. One of the very first times I went camping in the Ozark National Forest, I took my dog with me and was sharing a campsite down there on Big Piney, and it's probably 10:30 or 11. I knew of some other people that were camping down the way. And I hear whoop, like somebody was whooping for a Sasquatch or something. It was just so loud. And I was like, did I hear what I think I just heard? And I was like, yep, that lady's probably been drinking too many White Claws. I never once thought of it being Sasquatch. So go ahead.
I met a guy down at Black Bass Lake, and he was saying that he just moved here and sitting on his front porch one night, he heard a Sasquatch this big bellow. And about 20 miles away, he said he heard a return, like another Bigfoot communicating back with that one. He said, I think it was their mating call. I'm like,
Look, I'm gonna tell you what.
Two believers communicating with each other.
20 miles away.
That's
Yeah,
what
20
it
miles.
is. It's like the
That's
fires of
impressive.
Gondor. It's like one Sasquatch guy yells in the wood, the next one hears it, he yells, the next one hears it, and it just keeps going on through there.
The Twilight bark.
And I don't believe
Okay.
I don't believe in Bigfoot until I see one. I mean, I have the hat, I believe. I just did more in fun and I wear Bigfoot stuff.
So,
And my jigsaw
I'll
has
give you-
Squatcho,
I'll give you one more funny story. We were camping with Joey, the professor, and Tony with Bats Off Road. And somebody, can't even think. Sorry, I'm blanking out. We were camping off the Buffalo River a couple of years ago. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning. I got to go to the bathroom. It hits you. So I get out from the tent and I walk way away from camp. Bright moon. It's so bright that I had to walk. I swear I had to walk a half a mile away just to get away from camp. And I'm, okay, I've gone to the bathroom. I'm on my way back to the tent. And all of a sudden I hear in the water like somebody threw a big rock. And I know, because I'm used to bass fish a lot, I know what rocks hitting water sound like. And it's like this, I'm like, that was a big rock. Where in the world would that have come from? And why would anybody be throwing rocks in the river in the middle of the night? And then all of a sudden, here's another one. And I'm like,
Guys.
what would be throwing rock? I know now I've done watched too many Sasquatch specials, people talking about how they throw rocks at you and stuff. But it's like literally in my mind, like the Rolodex of identification is trying to go through. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? And I'm like, and it happens again. And it's like, and it's like throwing rocks. And I'm like, there must be some guy downriver or something screwing with me because, they were camping. And I was like, what's going on? Come to find out, I was telling somebody a little bit about that same situation later. And they said, oh, yeah, that's what a beaver sounds like when he's flipping his tail on the water. And I'm like, okay, that is believable.
That makes sense. It's not as much fun, though.
Yeah.
Wendell
Yep.
down at Sand Gap, the Sand Gap store, he passed away recently, and they've been doing a lot of fundraising for his family. But before he passed away, I was in the store, and he was telling me, Kim was with me, there was some other people in the store, and he's telling all of us this story. Literally across the street, there's a cabin, a rental cabin.
Mm-hmm.
It said that some people had it rented, and the next day they got out or went outside and they saw these big footprints walking all the way around, and then you could tell this thing was standing, looking into their window.
Oh, wonderful!
And then it walked all the way around the store or around the cabin.
It was Bubba. He wears a size 13 Red Wing.
Probably so. And he said those people were freaked out.
Yeah.
And he said
I'm
there's
sure.
another sighting down there more by Kings Bluff area,
Mm-hmm.
Pedestal Rocks. Some ladies were coming back
Pedestal
from that
Rock?
towards Pelser and or Sand Gap, and they said there was one on the side of the road and kind of jumped up, out of the ditch area and ran up the side. And,
I would have a heart attack if I actually saw
oh
it.
man,
Too.
I would too.
Yeah. Like if I saw one where I know what I just saw, like I know what I just saw, but I don't believe what I just saw.
Yeah,
If
that's
I-
right.
If I
And
saw
Wendell
a shirt
is a
in
great.
wood, I would probably be like, ah!
I mean, I have watched a lot of documentaries where there's a lot of people will say, I'm not one of those people. I've never believed in my entire life until the
But-
day I saw it. And I'm like, I'm still not convinced. But yeah, I get it. It's like,
But I do think that
There you go.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'd
one
see
of my favorite shirts I bought at the little gas station in Jasper, which is a cool little gas station if you're ever in Jasper. It's like right when you first come into town, it's right there. I've got a Sasquatch shirt and it says, "Keep exploring. Worst case, he finds you." It's like this kind of an angry looking Sasquatch. Oh yeah, I think it's funny.
So my friend Adam commented on there.
Hey,
from
Baker Overland, thanks for joining us.
he commented from
We might have
watching
mentioned you earlier.
Colorado. That's true. Anyway, if we ever go to Colorado together, we got a guy out there who can show us around now. He just
Yeah,
moved
very
out
cool.
there, and he's been sending me pictures all weekend of some of the places they're going. And man, I'm ready for a Colorado trip. I'm jealous that you and Kate are leaving in a couple of weeks for Colorado.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I swear, if you heard to hear Kate tell it, I've been working my tail off trying to get everything, chasing down bugs of electrical wiring in the Jeep. I installed all new stuff, but literally for some reason when you install new stuff doesn't work right. Literally, like my backup lights on the trailer wasn't working, and I was like, "Wow, okay, I think I know what the problem is." And it was like at the bumper. I won't go into the details, but I had all new stuff. Put the connector in, and the pin was bent. So I was like, "Oh, well, this is an easy fix. Just bend the pin, connect it. It's working." So Kate was putting it in reverse for me while I'm testing. It's all working. Literally, as I unplugged the trailer wiring harness, the pin came out in the harness. I'm like, "You've got to be kidding." It's just been that kind of thing. It's like stuff that shouldn't be broke. It's like it's nothing to do with the trailer. It was all on the Jeep end, and it was I don't know. It's just maybe it's trying to tell me that this trip is cursed before it starts. I don't know.
Oh no,
Don't say that.
No,
Don't say
listen,
that.
Don't say that. Yeah, true.
It's
No,
because you
take
didn't
back.
install the margarita machine. If you'd have put in the margarita machine instead of the cameras, you'd have been just fine. That's the problem. Margs are
I
greater
did-
than cameras.
What was it?
this
I saw
doesn't work.
Yeah. I saw a sign somebody posted. Oh, there's a old man old truck. What's he said? There's a sign of Georgia Traverse that says something like Sasquatch mating. Yes, do not make eye contact.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Red
what I
box.
was just fixing to say. I
Now-
saw that the other day. I thought that was hilarious.
There's the same sign to that in the Poinsett County Jail. Do not make eye contact.
Then we show. Then we show.
Now we did have a Bigfoot encounter at Rito last year.
We did.
We were all
Yes.
sitting around the fire.
That's
that's
right.
right.
Yeah.
And there's this
Oh,
big
that's-
7-foot
Bigfoot got
Bigfoot
concerned
guy
too. as I
trying to get
recall.
in one of those Jeeps.
Yeah, that's when
That dude's got a
Gordon,
big
my friend, yeah, my friend Gordon tried to get into Gina's Jeep.
Yep.
Yeah, he was like,
Kate almost took him out though.
yeah,
Hey, you know,
Kate was ready.
Remember, he turned and looked and saw Kate and was like, "Oh, this woman means business."
All of us guys were like, "What's going on?
What's
I don't
going
know
on
what's
there?"
Yeah,
happening."
we were all
Kate
we were
had
all
taken action.
inquisitive, and Kate was pointing. Kate, I remember she said, I looked up and saw how tall he was. It's like, crap, this is going to take a while. Jeez.
that was hilarious. Yeah, we were telling the stories. We were talking about all the crazy stuff that happened to us, and then
Literally.
And that's when it
Yeah, I
happened.
looked-
Yeah.
I looked
It was,
over and I see these guys. I'm like, hey, somebody's getting in your Jeep. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Took
yeah,
off.
Bobby was like,
It was perfect
Bobby
timing.
didn't in that Jeep over there. Yeah, that was Gordon, and that was James Burrington, and David Cartwright from Folksy Overland, and we're messing with us trying to break into Gina's Jeep, and they successfully did it before Kate tried to tackle them all down to the ground.
And she would have won. She would
Yeah,
have taken them all.
She would have won.
Yes, you would have.
That's true.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, but all this. I mean, we have a lot of stuff happen to us. I mean, aside from the the serious notes that we've had and Jason's had, and stuff like that, and then the funny stuff that we see out in the woods. Like I'm not going to mention one of the guys that's in the comments over here that got us lost in the woods, Craig Puckett.
Old Craig.
Old Craig, and then. Then we got the UFO at Rito, and then people saw Sasquatch stories and everything else. Man, it's generally most of the time it's a lot of fun out in the woods, but you do have to be mindful
That's
of the.
very true. That is
Yeah.
very true.
That's a lot
You
of
don't let any of this crazy
It's
stuff that's happened to us scare anybody
Don't-
away from the woods at all.
Yes,
Don't
exactly.
forget the flying poopers at Rito, along with the awnings that were like kites.
Oh yeah,
So, that's the fun stuff.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. We've gotten to where we got so many friends. That was the coolest thing about all of this. We met all you guys doing this. We have met and made so many friends, and I'm looking forward to Rendezvous in the Ozarks this year. I think we're going to have probably even a bigger group this year.
Yeah, we have quite a few people extra with us.
Yeah, Dr. Bay stopped by my house yesterday. He was on his way back from Colorado. I know nobody knows who that is, but he was the owner of the trailer we looked at Moore Expo. He got talking to us, so he's like, "Hey,
you're going to be going to Indiana to pick up your trailer. Could you pick up some parts for me and bring them back? So sure. So he's on his way back from Colorado yesterday, and I asked him, I was like, hey, you're coming to Rendezvous in the Ozarks? And he's like, I don't know. We're going to Big Iron Overland. But he says, yeah, I think we're going to go to Rito. So he may be camping with us. But it's 5 seconds left. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was going to time us out. Nope, we're still going. Oh, good. I didn't know if it would time us out. So we're still going.
I'm hoping to go to Big Iron.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it. We are still on the fence because we really want to do Overland America. We really want to do that because that's going to be an awesome event.
And that was like 2 weeks from now.
We really want to do that. I've got a lot of stuff going on. Jason's got stuff going on. Jeremy's got stuff going on. Will's got stuff. Everybody's got so much stuff going on, but Rito was kind of like it. I guess that's kind of our anniversary trip.
Yeah, it's like a family reunion thing.
Yeah, it's like our family reunion trip.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get to see everybody that we got to
Stella
see.
needs to come too.
What's that?
Yeah.
I said Stella needs to come.
Oh yeah, Stella. Yeah.
I don't care if you go into an acting or whatever it is.
She'll be there.
Yeah, you got to be there.
We need to talk Hannah into coming. That's the key.
Yeah, exactly. If Hannah wants to come too, but yeah, Stella's got to go.
We're in the comment sections or whatever want to come camp with us. Come camp with us. I mean, we're easygoing people. We like to have fun. We like to get out and laugh and cut up and do all that stuff.
I mean, after tonight, it sounds like it's bad to camp with any of us, but that's the small percentage.
Going to hit us.
Yes.
There will be 700 plus people all in the same area. It'll be as safe as your own home. So I know that I'm glad it's like, so here's some serious encounters. We've all kind of had them, but I think if you use common sense, go prepared. A good example, there were some 2 ladies recently posted on one of the Facebook groups that we're in that they were actually out at Whitaker Point, Whitaker Point Trail. They were trying to do a night shot to get Hawksbill Craig in the photos. Well, they're on their way. They're hiking out now, and it's dark, so they've got headlamps and stuff. And they encountered a mountain lion, and the mountain lion was like following them, so they're freaked out. And so they know better. Don't run. Just, be aware, make loud noises, kind of like, hey, bear kind of thing. And so the mountain lion is like following them out. And then they realize there's another one in front of them. So now they're being basically hunted all the way back to their vehicle. Take some bear spray. Don't. And if you're a dude, that's the absolute. When I was in college, that was the worst thing was I'm a guy, I'll be fine. Anytime there was ever a mugging on campus, it was a guy that got mugged. And I think that was one out of the 4 years I was there. But it was just there's a lot of dudes with a lot of ego thinking, oh, I'll be fine, I can take care of myself. If you're by yourself, you are a target. I don't care if you're male or female or if you're both confused what you are. I don't care what it is. You're a target. Period. So be aware. Be self-aware and have enough, preparedness, a way to get out communication. You can't do it by phone. It's like, well, I've got the new iPhone 15. It can do satellite. Have you tested it? Have a way to be able to communicate and be able to be, like I said, back yourself into your camp so you can shine headlights. Little things that can give you an advantage is going to help you. I know we mentioned Baker Overland he's got a whole video about it where it had an encounter. And I know when he first posted it in Natural State where he's like, I had my kids with me, dad mode kicks in and you're like, I've got to get out of here. So if you're ever in a situation to where you feel like you're just better off leaving, do it. That's what you guys did. And you probably saved yourself some, fairly serious situations that could have escalated much worse. In my situation, I was, considering like, do I need to leave? Do we need to pack up? Of course, now I'm not used to dealing with that high stress situation like that. Whereas the 3 people that were with me, they were sitting around just chilled and laughing, and they were trying to, honestly trying to calm me down because I'm like, it's go time. I'm ready to freaking kick doors and I'm ready to go. And they can tell I'm not. I need to be calmed down. And we ended up, going to bed and managed to get, decent sleep. We stayed up for a couple hours just in case they came back, but I think they knew if they came back, they were going to find a world of hurt. But we probably should have packed up and left, but we didn't. So I think as a general practice, if you're ever in a strange encounter like that where someone has approached your camp and then has now left, if you don't feel comfortable, chances are if your spidey senses are tingling and telling you something's wrong, listen to it. Don't ignore it.
Always listen to your gut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always better to just back away and don't try to be the, Billy Bad Boy and I can take care of myself. Just play it safe. It's there's no harm, no foul, and you're better off. So
I've got a Byrna, the BYRNA. Looks like a pistol, but it shoots pepper balls. And
oh yeah, remember you guys got that at Moore.
Yeah, and the thing about that is with bear spray gotta be a little bit closer to them before that pepper spray hits the bear or animal or anything like that. But with the Byrna, it can be 50 yards from you, and you can do it. And the second thing is, looks like we have a race at Rito, Brad against some other people, Craig and More Adventures, I think.
We're gonna have a 20-yard dash
Craig said he has bad news, but we're gonna have a 20-yard dash race
for charity.
We're gonna have to really pump this up.
All I'm thinking of is Gimli. Dwarves are wasted over distances.
It's gonna
We're
be
natural sprinters.
It needs to make it more like an 8-yard dash. I'm gonna be out of breath in about 9.
So, Brad, we'll have a bunch of honey buns at the finish line. That'll keep you going, man.
I feel like hamstrings have left the chat.
Caleb, I'm gonna put Caleb in this race if he keeps chiming in here. It would be a midget dash.
God.
We'll prepare a cosmic brownie and we'll have some honey buns for
Cosmic
you.
brownies.
Oh, that's a good point. You put a cosmic brownie in front of Bradley or a honey bun, I guarantee you.
It is vicious.
He's gonna win the race.
Caleb's in the race. That's it. There's 4 of us in it right now. Craig, I know. We'll make sure it's on a hill.
Square.
Around, you can use your wheelchair.
If this cosmic brownie thing has become a kind of an inside joke, I swear I'm going to have a patch made of a cosmic brownie.
Yeah.
Don't make it look too much like a cosmic
I
brownie.
know. It'll be eaten.
Beer at the finish line. You're absolutely correct, brother. Absolutely correct.
I'm looking forward to this race.
I guess. Well, it's my fault. I'm the guy pushing the buttons. I thought I hit go live, and I think you have to do it twice or confirm that yes, I'm going live. So I forgot. So we were sitting there chit chatting for like 2-3 minutes. We'd already started the show, and I hear Kate downstairs going, "It's not live yet." And I'm like, "Oh no!" So I was like, "Okay, well, we're going live now." So we were late, and now we're running late. But we've actually got quite a bit of interaction going. So I hate to cut us all off, but I do realize that people have school tomorrow and work. I've got some more chocolate chip mint ice cream to eat after the. Actually, I should probably go away from it. I smoked ribs today, so I'm like full belly and happy wife downstairs. So I should probably not eat.
This is not a Cheeto. This is actually a carrot.
Sure it is.
Sure it is.
I thought she was going to throw me like a slice of apple pie, but no, this was a carrot. She said, "You get a carrot."
I'm glad she didn't throw a slice of apple pie at you because that'd be hard to catch.
Bowl pudding.
You put it in some bowl. I can catch the whole thing at once.
So what started the whole cosmic brownie joke? I know we were all out at the mega camp camping together, and I think it was Bradley was making jokes about his tent, but it's like once this thing opens, it's gonna rain, and sure enough, it did. It rained, but I think you said something about you had to kick all the cosmic brownies and honey buns out of the way to close the tent or something.
So like my other tent, I went to go get rid of that front runner tent, and it had pockets in the front of it and everything. And I ended up opening it up, clean it up, and get it ready. There was honey buns in it. There was like all kinds. I like keep snacks in the tent because I didn't want to climb down and go get them in the middle of the night when I wake up hungry. So like my Tough Stuff tent, those 6 big pockets are on the back side of it. Like one's got a box of honey buns in it. One's got a couple of Gatorade. There's a
That's
water.
why you can't close the tent.
There's some great.
He's
Get
on
that
top of
blanket
it,
out
jumping
there,
up and
bro.
down, trying to get
Get that blanket out of there. I gotta have that box of honey buns in there.
I want to say the first time we camped at you was with Rito, and it rained a little bit, but that tent was open. That was the front runner. And then we camped down at Mega Camp, and it was like no rain forecast. Beautiful, clear skies. It was awesome camping
Rain.
weather.
And,
And sure enough, at 1 a.m, I hear rain on the tent. And I'm like, wake up. And I'm like, that dadgum rascal. He wasn't even kidding.
All Brad's fault.
That tent would call. I mean, I swear it should have been in Africa somewhere, like in Nigeria, whatever. They would be flooded right now.
They'd be thankful for
There
it.
would be no topsoil left.
So,
Just carried us
flush,
hard.
flush with crops.
It always rains in camp with Brad.
Yeah.
Tony told me that's how Cottywample is. If wherever they're going, there's a storm following them. And I know when they, I think it was, oops, I'm hitting too many buttons. It was 2 years ago at Moore. Literally, as soon as Cottywample pulled into the parking lot, we got hit with a hailstorm.
We camped Ruben Fowler that's over here in the chat box. He camped with us last year at Hot Springs. We were doing a fun run for Hot Springs for charity for Camp Sunshine. And it was no rain, and then a tornado came through and literally ripped his tent up off the ground. And his wife, Haley, who's kind of bougie, who likes to carry around they got one of these little dogs, and like she'll carry it around, with her Stanley Cup and stuff. She's in the tent just screaming, ah, all the way across there. It was the worst. It was the worst camping experience.
That was the last time she went camping with him.
Oh no, Haley goes with us. They go all the time with us. All the time. Yeah. Ruben's a good sport. Haley, not so much sometimes. She blames me for it.
Uh-oh. Looks like Will's he's getting his camera's getting crashed.
There you go.
Who's your guest?
That's Keeks. Kiki.
Keats.
Yeah. Say hi, Keeks.
I thought you had a dog too.
Uh,
Does the dog and the cat live in the same house?
Yeah.
They get along?
Yeah, Maggie stays outside most of the time, but
Oh, okay.
she likes to come visit when I'm sitting here at the desk.
My cousin's a vet. His wife's a vet too. And I swear, they had Tom and Jerry in their house. They had a parakeet, they had a cat, and they had a dog. And they would for Christmas or something, you get Christmas cards and you get the cat, the dog, and the bird, the Christmas card.
Nice.
All right. We should probably wrap up. We're steadily losing people now.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. And we're all done.
So
Keep going.
if you're still here, thank you for joining us. This is again, if you missed the recap at the beginning, we do this just for the fun of it. We love just, like I said, when we got together last year all of us for the first time, we all had this idea of getting together and doing this more regularly so we could visit with each other and just sitting around a campfire laughing, because that is one of our favorite things to do, is hang out with our friends. I mean, we've all become like a little family now. And, we keep in touch with Messenger and blowing each other's phones up and stuff, some of us more than others. But, we don't ever get a chance to actually have FaceTime other than camping. And because we all live in, Will's in Texas, and you guys are over in Northeast Arkansas, and Bobby's in the metropolis of Berryville. And so we're, when we can get together, we absolutely have a blast. So this is what, this is our way of inviting, new people to join us around the campfire and sit here and listen to some tall tales. And, we make jokes about it. We're not necessarily telling lies, but, it's not that we've embellished stories. I don't think we have. I think everything from what I've heard tonight, they're all real.
If just if you listen to us, you think we're making all this crap up.
Yeah. That's the scary part. It's all legit.
That's true. That's very true.
Eaten by mosquitoes.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yep.
So hey, it's all for fun,
Next.
but the OnlyFans link is in the comments below. Don't forget.
Yep. I will say we have been planning on doing this like once a month, kind of at the first of the month. We were going to do it, like first of the month. Every first is when we were going to try to do this. But then I realized, 3-day weekend. Do we really want to do this on a Sunday, or let's just do it on Monday? And it all sounded good until I had ribs on the smoker that I was trying to get finished up. And I'm like, do I have time to finish eating before I do that? So yeah, it's a holiday weekend. I appreciate everybody, taking time out to join us. And it looks like Bradley has already left the chat.
He gone.
I had to go.
He had to grab a honey bun back there.
Brad need a snack.
I'm glad that's recorded because that's the only time you'll ever see me eat a carrot unless it's in some beef stew or something.
That's true. I hear that.
Or carrot cake.
All right. Well, we will try to catch everybody next month. Let's see. We will have been out west and back, and Will is going out west and back. And then I believe, Bradley, I think you're going down to
You're from Texas to
Marist,
Marist,
right? You're going to Marist.
Yeah.
Bobby, you're just stuck at work. Poor guy.
Hopefully I get to make it to Big Iron.
Yeah,
You get to go to Big Iron, yeah.
Okay.
Jeremy, you going to Big Iron? What's your next big trip?
I'm hoping to go overland of America next.
Okay, yeah, that's coming up in a couple of weeks. All
Couple
right.
weeks, yeah.
All right. Well, we're still planning on getting together at Rito. So
Absolutely.
if you happen to see our tent or trailer or whatever, if you see us, swing by and say hi. And we appreciate you joining us. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Later, guys.
All right.
Thank you,
All right.
guys. Enjoyed it. What is that?
What is
That's
that?
That's Gina's unicorn outfit that she has for school.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to get
Strange
Well, that's-
encounters all the time.
That's a strange
We're done.
encounter right there.
we've already,
The
that's the
black
strangest
case
thing.
got one in the mail.